California, and people have lost property and family and possessions. Pray that you be with the first responders and the doctors, and keep your hand on them out there and give them safety, please. Bless our time together tonight, please. Help us make wise decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thanks all for brave and cold. Come out. Okay. The agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Approval of the minutes for December. You all have a copy of them in front of you. You had a chance to look them over. They were sent to you. Any corrections? Changes? Hearing none, I will entertain the motion to accept the minutes.
A motion.
I'll second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So, Mr. Benzing. Apparently it's too cold. Mr. Klein, you may have someplace else.
Thank you for having me. We met with all 18 townships last week, discussed road projects for the coming year. And Adams Township, we gave you proposals for Peterson Road, Brown Road, and Gay Road. If you can look over, there's estimates on there for the cost. Brine price was opened and came in at 18.9 cents a gallon, which is about 0.4 of a cent higher than what it was last year, and that's under the 20-cent gallon proposed price that the manager put on, because he was just guesstimating. Lewis Emery Park received a grant of $250,000 from the DNR, and the county commissioners are gonna match with an $87,000 match. And this is for putting in handicapped accessible trails, docks, and parking areas. So, and with that, you guys got any questions or anything for me about?
That's it?
That's it. We got it all talked over the other night.
Yep, and I just gave them their copies and give us a chance to look it over.
Yep, that's fine. That's why we tried to meet earlier this January, so that you would have enough time to get before your budget meeting in March.
Yes.
Anyone else got any questions?
So much.
Mr. Benson,
Sir. Okay.
you're on next, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Mr. Benzin, you are up.
5 minutes.
Yep.
Sure.
For anyone born after 1970, this is what real winter is like. So those of us, Mark's my age, probably remember trudging to school both ways uphill.
5 miles uphill.
Yep. So,
Wolf come by
and we
the
did
door.
not have snow days.
Wolf come by the door in the 80.
Just remember 78.
Pardon me?
78.
Yes, I do remember 78.
What about 73?
Yeah.
What
That's
about,
St. Patrick's Day.
what about 64?
I didn't live in Michigan. All right, to my report. Board of Commissioners was made aware of some recent case law in regards to the Open Meetings Act. And just passing along to you that because any of us that are public bodies are subject to it, particularly pertains to committees, basically gatherings of groups that are less than quorum of your board. Those committees have been found to be completely subject to the OMA. And so if you are going to have two of your people from your board get together to do something on roads that is going to bring something back to your full board or anything really, you need to post it. You need to have a period for public comment, whether there's public there or not. You still have to announce there's a period for public comment. And you have to keep minutes. And those minutes have to be available. So just bear in mind that.
So is that 2 or 3? 3, okay.
Well, like I say, it's basically any subdivision greater than 1 of your board. So it's not 3. 3 is a quorum of your board. So consequently, because you have a 5-member board. So 2 people, anything greater than 1. So is going to be subject to the, yes, sir.
They have to be in conjunction with that meeting?
No, but
can they be bystanders?
They can be a freestanding meeting, okay? But you still are required to follow the OMA. So you got to post it. So you got that 18-hour posting notice. You know, you can't call somebody up and say, hey, let's get together at the coffee shop and talk about where we're going to put limestone on the roads this year. You got to post 18 hours. You got to post it. You got to have public comment, and you got to take minutes. And the minutes can be a summary, but you got to follow all those things. And I'm just the messenger here. So, but like I say, we're really struggling with that as Board of Commissioners because all of our committees are 2 persons.
So, okay, but is it a designated committee? Because what happens on tax collection days, and I'm working at my office and Dave's working.
Not a problem. Not a problem. You're not bringing something, condensing something down. The thing is you are condensing something down that will be brought to the full board. So where we really looked at it, was in regards to hiring. So we're going to be hiring an emergency management director. And so we have a management and personnel committee. So what we got applicants, and we were going to go through those, look at which ones that had the qualifications for the job description, and then bring a pool back to the Board of Commissioners of those people who were qualified. And so we bounced it off legal counsel, and legal counsel said, nope, can't do that. So anytime that you are condensing down, you are winnowing away, debating towards a decision to bring to your full board. So like I say, again, using an example of roads, because that's something all my townships do is roads, okay? So it's pretty common to have somebody go out and ride with somebody from the road commission every spring. They look at the roads and then figure out where you're going to throw. So if 2 of you go, okay, and 2 of you then bring something back to the full board that you drove the roads and said, we think that we should put limestone here, here, and here. You've condensed that down from all the roads you drove and all the places potentially you could put limestone. So can't do that. Well, you can, but don't do it in the truck. Do it back here at the township hall and post it. Just like.
So, like the county road meeting where the township board would attend.
Those better be posted. If they're not posted, it's a quorum of your board. If you got 3 of you there, it's a quorum of your board.
When did this come
Supposed to
into
do the
effect?
road commission.
But you guys need to post it as well.
When did this come into effect?
So, the OMA's been in effect since like 1978. And I apologize, I didn't get them collated. I was actually going to try to put them in some little binders, but I will sort those out. I've got to run a ransom, but I will sort those out and leave you. The most recent copy is 2022 is the latest update. It doesn't have the case law in it. So, as always, consult with your attorney or consult with MPA, if you have any questions about it. But just, I'm a strong advocate for openness and transparency in government. And the best piece of advice I can give you is if you have any doubt that you're in compliance, err on the side of caution. Post it. Just be transparent. It just avoids questions. There's enough distrust in government for all of us. It doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in America today. There's enough distrust in government. We gotta go above and beyond. So, all right, moving on after that cheerful piece of news. We did hold our organizational meeting with the Board of Commissioners. We are required by state statute every year to hold that on the first business day of the new year. And so we did hold that, and Mark Raleigh was reelected as our chairperson, and I was reelected as the vice chair of the board. Our committee structure will stay the same, so I will continue on as the public safety chair. And our new commissioner, Kevin Collins, who serves, of course, Moscow Township and Litchfield over that way, he will fill in the role vacated by Steve Lanius, and he will be our human services chair. So, but all those other assignments remain the same. Public safety radio upgrade is continuing on. We now own those 2 additional pieces of property that I've been speaking about. That closing has taken place on them. All the oversight things as far as environmental surveys and physical surveys have been done. So we own those properties now. The bonds will be issued by the end of the month, and we should have those proceeds in hand a few days after those bonds are issued. That will get us moving forward on it. And I have a tentative live date for you now. It will be May of 2026. So that we are planning that all of our public safety radios will be up and working. Work does continue on the realignment, reorganization of our medical examiner's office. You may recall we had a shared medical examiner for a number of years with Lenawee County, and then when Dr. Keeson died, we hired Dr. Mena, Jackson County ME, as a medical examiner for both Hillsdale and Lenawee counties. The suggestion had been made, actually prior to Dr. Keeson's death, of looking at regionalization, much like we have done with health departments. The state has been leaning heavily for that to happen, and if it is not done on a voluntary basis, the suspicion is they will come in and tell you to do it. So we have been working on what that would look like. We actually now have reached the point where a draft agreement has been created, and we're ready to start having some formalization to that. It's been legally reviewed. That will go to the 3 different counties' boards of commissioners. It will be an agreement on how we will share the costs for that office, and but it will also allow us then to share the MEs, the medical examiner investigators from all 3 counties amongst them. So really a good thing. I know as a firefighter, medical first responders sitting around waiting for, because we currently have no medical examiner investigators in Hillsdale County, so we have to wait for them to come from another county. So it will be a good thing if we have more of those, and the hope is that will work out to be a very good agreement. We have several other multi-county boards, such as a Region 2 Area Agency on Aging, which is a 3-county board, our 3-county health department, Community Action Agency, although they're a private nonprofit, they are a 3-county agency. So we're hoping that that will work out as well.
So it's gonna be Jackson, Lenawee, and Hillsdale.
Jackson, Hillsdale, or Lenawee, yes. Tomorrow we will interview candidates for the full-time position of Emergency Management Director for the county. Our hope is to have a job offer to that individual within the next few days after that, and have that person on board by the 1st of February. We had 11 people who applied for it. The Board of Commissioners at our organizational meeting, they did look at those resumes, and they winnowed that field down to 5. And so 5 people were invited to come in. 3 were from outside of Hillsdale County, and 2 were from within Hillsdale County. Over the ensuing last 10 days or so, the 3 out-of-county candidates have withdrawn. And so tomorrow we will be interviewing 2 candidates, and they are both current county residents. So both are currently involved in public safety, and like I say, I'm hoping that within a few days thereafter that we would be able to offer that position, and hopefully someone will accept that so we can get that on board. One of the big duties with the Emergency Management Director is our outdoor weather warning sirens. And we are halfway through January at this point, so before we know it, will be that first week in March. That's when weather warning siren contests start up. And we like to do that first one through the day so the school kids can participate in that. And so it's kind of critical that we get that person up and going and into that position. We did receive a grant for Lewis Emery, or the Roaring Ponds Park. This was the third time that we have applied for it, is through the Natural Resources Trust Fund. That trust fund has money from oil and gas leases on state land. And Mr. Nichols, you probably are up to speed on the solar leases we now have, because there's been a great deal of media attention to some solar leases up in the Gaylord area. But anyways, we did apply for that grant. It's about $280,000, and it is to build handicapped accessible docks, fishing docks, and a handicapped accessible trail around all our ponds at the Roaring Ponds. We'll also provide for some upgrades to the waterfall. When you first come in, there's a water cascade there, and all those things will be part of the grant. There is a match for it, but we can do in-kind things, so materials that we would supply or other labor that we would provide from our parks workers would also go toward that grant. So we're hoping that it won't actually be a very significant monetary contribution that we would have to fund for it. We think the in-kind will probably cover that, and I think the Parks Commission for their help in moving that forward. That will be a great addition to our county park system. Tomorrow we're going to have some discussion. We will have a resolution on the subject of disbanding our county planning commission. I've spoken to you about that previously. We were actually going to have that resolution come at our last meeting in December of last year, and Commissioner Wiley asked that it not be voted on then because he was going to be absent. He was on a cruise that he had scheduled a year ago, and so he was not able to be at that meeting. So consequently, we will have one less person who was there when we had that discussion in the public hearing on that, because Commissioner Lane is no longer on the Board of Commissioners, our new commissioner. He was present, I will say, for the public hearing. Planning Commission has struggled. I chaired that body when I was the township supervisor. We struggled for quorum over the years. We've tried incentivizing by offering per diems and mileage to the members to participate. We tried doing meetings in the evening as well as in the day. They've still struggled to have a quorum. Their most recent meeting that they attempted to have, which actually was the impetus to bring forward the idea of disbanding them, they didn't get a quorum yet. And their primary thing is they review PA 116 applications. Ultimately, those are approved by the Michigan Tax Commission, and we have received some legal counsel that says that we, the Board of Commissioners, we have to get the final approval on them before they're sent out. Anyway, then we can just simply do that ourselves within the Board of Commissioners before they're approved and then sent out to the State Tax Commission. The other is that we have been trying to rewrite the county master plan. We had made some pretty good progress when I was on that, and basically we were waiting on some final components from the education sector. 6 years later, we still haven't got that done. And the latest recommendation from the Planning Commission was to hire Region 2 for $20,000 to write a plan for us. Counties have a long-standing policy. We don't do business with Region 2. We are not a member of Region 2, and we don't buy services with them or from them. But like I say, that was their proposal. They felt they were unable to complete their task on their own. Surprisingly, our Planning Commission in the past had always been able to do that, but they felt they were unable to do that, and recommended that we budget $20,000 and have Region 2 do it. So tomorrow again, we'll have a resolution. Basically, we have to have a resolution or an ordinance to dissolve an ordinance. We are a little bit more constricted in what we can do as far as creating ordinances and then removing ordinances. It is my gut feeling that votes do not exist to repeal that, and so we will be right back to where we have been for the past number of years with a planning commission that struggles to even have the ability to do business. So stay tuned, I will report to you. And then the last item I have for you is just simply Ransom Township. They did change the meeting time. I used to previously, when this was my commissioner district, because you folks, you met at 7:30 and Ransom met at 8 p.m. I would alternate between the two because it takes me 22 minutes and their meetings last about 20 minutes. to drive the distance between the two township halls. So they move their meeting times the same as yours, 7 p.m. So what I'm going to attempt to do is I will alternate, so you will see me every other month. If you have me here, call me, and I will simply let Ransom know. If it is a month when I would not normally be here, I will let Ransom know that I need to be here, and then I will simply attempt. And what I'm going to do is next month I will go to Ransom, because your meetings generally go longer than theirs do. If you would be kind enough, if I came later on in the meeting, to give me the time to speak, whether that's at your second public comment or however that will work, I will be glad to make the journey over here. Like I say, if I get here in time before you're done, and I will do much of what I've done here in the past, and I will just simply excuse myself from their meeting rather than save the entire family and come. And that concludes my report, unless there are questions.
I have one question. The public safety radio project.
Yes.
I know last time you spoke with us, you were looking for property here in North Adams.
Yes.
What property did you guys
We
acquire?
purchased just under 4 acres on Reed Road.
Okay.
So,
Is that close? Is that a little farther than you were hoping for?
actually, we of course we wanted to be ready to village. That's what. But what we also discovered is there's this circle around the airport, and that puts us just a little bit further out, and so therefore it creates a little bit less restriction in regards to that tower and getting the FAA to give their blessing to the erection of that. So consequently, yes, we're out a little bit further than we like I said, we wanted to be ready in the village, or immediately adjacent to it, but it's a little further away. But the offset to that is the fact it's a little further away from the airport too. Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're in public comment. Remember, 3 minutes. Address your comments to the board. Do not talk amongst or to each other. Keep it peaceful. Who's gonna be first? Ms. Wertz?
That's what I was checking, if you're gonna talk now?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Well, my comments will be much briefer than Mr. Benzing's. He had a lot to share.
You have a lot more time to practice.
Well, we just getting started in Lansing, so, if I haven't met you already, I'm Jennifer Wertz, I'm your new state representative, and took office a week ago on Wednesday. So I just wanted to stop back in and say hello. I have some business cards here that I will leave. Is this table acceptable? You ladies don't look so scary. And I also wanted to share, we've got 2 bills that we've put forward that will hopefully fix the tipped wages issue and also the paid sick time leave issue that will seriously affect small businesses statewide. And so I have information here on a letter that we've prepared today. The hearings actually start tomorrow. We formed a special committee last week, and so we are taking this on and trying to get these 2 issues addressed before the deadline and when they're supposed to take effect, which is, I believe it's February 24th. But don't quote me on that, and I'm on camera, but I think that's the right day. So the hearings start tomorrow at 10:30. You can watch those hearings if you're really bored on House TV. You can go through YouTube, or if you go to the State House page, there's it's gonna be on House Committee 1. And then also, we're looking for, if you'd like to testify, or if you'd like to submit feedback as to why these bills, if you're a small business owner or an employee employed as a server or own a restaurant, as to why these 2 bills would be detrimental to you. The proposal that we're proposing is that what's been passed, that if you're less than 50 employees, if you're a small business under 50 employees, you would not have to comply with what was passed. And so I've talked to some small business owners today that did change their paid time off policy to kind of align and hope and roughly fix what is coming, but everybody agrees that this is just a bad policy all around. So I'll leave these here. I'm also having questions, my contact information's on there, or my email, at the office.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Was this a proposal that was put on the ballot that the people approved?
it was not. This was passed through in the last session, through Democrats. This was not passed. It was that,
This isn't the proposal.
it is not a proposal, it's a law that was passed.
Right.
Yes,
But isn't that the one that was voted on?
no.
The 15, am I confused? Am I thinking of the $15 minimum wage?
That was not voted on. It was passed through the House and passed by the Senate, and then the governor signed it. But it was not a, proposal on the ballot. It was not a ballot initiative. So it was appealed and the Supreme Court upheld it. And so, this is what we're proposing in the House, and if it goes and passes through the Senate and the governor signs it, it would be a compromise essentially. It's a modification to that bill that, as I said, would, cap it if you're below 50 employees. If you have less than 50 employees that you're employing, then, you would have an exemption. And there's a couple other tweaks in it. As we've talked to small business owners, it's kind of the things that they're saying. One of the other big things in it is that, you cannot show up to work for 3 days, and you don't have to call, you don't have to show, and your employer can do nothing to you. They can't terminate you, they can't, they still have to allow you to come back, you don't have to give an explanation, and I mean, I'm not sure how any of us would operate a business. I know if my child doesn't go to school for 3 days and no call, no show, I may have, services showing up at my door. So it's just some really crazy, language in this law. So that's what we're seeking to kind of rectify.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Representative Gorst, did you say 50 employees or 15?
50.
50. Thank you.
That's the hope. Obviously, there's also, the Democrats submitted a bill last week as well in the Senate. Now theirs, I think, is if it's 10 or less employees, which we're saying is, that's just not sufficient. Federally, if you wanna look at like a comparison, when they enacted, healthcare, that number is if you're under 30 employees, you're exempt. So, I did sign on as a co-sponsor of the bill and was assured that we would not be budging on that 50 number. So, I hope that's true. We'll find out.
Thank you very much. Who's next? Nobody? All right, moving on. Old business, there is none. New business, Mr.
Let Commissioner Benson finish his work.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Sure. I got it.
Don't be sweet.
Carlos. Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank the board for this last minute addition. We realized that, so what DMCI is attempting to do now, we're in an application process for the BEAD program. The BEAD with this that I gave to you is Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. That was the 2021 $45 billion budget, federal budget that they've been joking not one house has been connected yet. Well, that's because they just finally got the application process started on January 9th, which we are actively engaged in. Part of that process is to come to every municipality, entity that we are going to hopefully pass through and ask for a letter of support. So there is a copy of a letter of support in your packet, and all we ask is that you just put it on the township letterhead. You can all sign it or have the commission, the head sign it, and return it to us electronically is fine. As soon as you're able, we have the application process is 3 months, so we have to have this submitted April 9th. So we have a little bit of time. There's no urgency here, but
about business owners, anybody like that, other than the board, would you like on this?
No, that's not necessary,
Okay.
just the public entities that we're passing through. And so to date, we've passed over 2,250 homes with our Reconnect 3 money and the state's Robin grant. The state's Robin grant has us all the way coming up to 34 in Cambria Township. And with this, we're gonna cross 34, come up by the airport, and then up to Adams.
Do you know the roads with the boundaries?
We're working on all that, and I will come back and update the board as soon as we got that all. The way that they've organized it is they've made all these little octagons, and if you touch one address within the octagon, you have to service every available address within the octagon, and so there's a lot of work to be done on the back end for us to make those maps viable. We hope to come through here, go up into Fayette, Litchfield, Scipio, over into Allen, and it's a pretty ambitious goal. So
I have to ask,
Yes.
is there a road, there are so many houses on a road like they do with cable? If you only have so many roads, so many houses on a road,
So the way that the BEAD program, they've given us a map of the county, and that map's divided into octagons.
right?
And we actually had to go through in some of these areas where there's many Amish homes and barns. They counted every home and barn as a serviceable address. So we had to go back and say, these addresses probably aren't serviceable because they're Amish barn. It's a barn, it's not a house. So there's all these things that we're working out. But every entity that the BEAD program considers serviceable within those octagons, we have to have a plan to provide them service. And we've got almost 2 years of experience doing this. Like I said, we've passed over 2,200 homes, 150 miles or more worth of fiber in the ground so far. We're putting it in the ground, not on the wire, we're not hanging it to avoid any potential tree limbs or ice, failures. We have internet feeds coming in Bronson and Reading and here in Hillsdale, and we're looking to make modifications there to have our service fed by, like Merit and some of the other entities that provide service like that. Any other questions for me?
Does your current octagon encompass all of Adams Township?
I will let you know as soon as we have the map filled. I'll come back and just know that we are coming into the township to service you, and we would appreciate your support. And this is also non-exclusive, so if some of our competitors come, you're free to support them as well. We're looking to get the county service with fiber, and Michigan's been very fortunate. We've received, I think 1.5, it might be on here. Yeah, 1.6 billion of the 45, which is a greater portion than what, our size indicates, so it's very fortunate.
I'm just curious, since we have dead areas where people, cell phone, nothing,
Right.
and I know one of the people is a diabetic, so that's why.
If you were to send us that information, any information you think would be helpful for us,
Because that's a dead
to
area.
say, these areas are dead, have no cell service, so having high-speed fiber would be really helpful.
Okay,
That, we'll definitely take that into consideration. Dave wants to do his best to,
yeah.
get Hillsdale connected. To that note, we've grown in this process. We have 4 serviceable drilling rigs. We've got over 44 full-time employees now. We just hired a lady that started here this year, so I guess we're 45 now. It's caused us to grow. That 50 number, I kind of like that. Maybe we can get away from those new rules that the state passed as far as time off school. If you would just consider signing that, we'd be appreciative. What that does for us is the application process is a points scoring system,
Right.
and they tend to favor the big boys. So smaller guys like us have a harder time. So the big boys probably aren't going to come here I also gave Susie a proposal to upgrade your NVR for the camera system because with the new election law and the amount of time you need to save it, what we provided for you 2 years ago is inadequate. So that's just something to look over, and if you have any questions, email me and then we can discuss it in the future. We have plenty of time.
Anybody have questions? No? Thank you.
Yeah, we need a motion to send this letter.
No.
Yeah, a motion and support and,
Tax.
actually, if you could actually create a resolution, that would be even better.
It would come from.
I would motion.
I'll second.
Motion is to send this letter, sign the letter, and send it. You all read the letter? Any further conversation on the letter?
Nope. Would just like to put out in public though, any additional, service providers out here that wanna be part of this county, you know, we seriously lack good service providers in this area. Seeing a good amount of us are on Starlink paying more than we could ever
Yeah.
imagine, I think it's good.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Okay, motion is made, seconded to sign the letter and submit it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Let's do a roll call on that.
Okay. Dan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and I would vote yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Moving on to the 2025 fire contract. They submitted a Gmail to us today stating that they made a motion the village has made a motion at their last meeting to proceed for another year, 1 year on the current fire agreement. No changes being made. Do we have a copy?
They haven't given us a copy yet, but he told me that there would be nothing, we do not, the money does not come due until the 1st of April.
Right. Okay, so that's something for you all to think about. Well, let's table it for this month and then you guys think about the contract. I'm sure we can get a copy of it, everybody can look at it again. The cost to the township is $24,800 for the fire contract, which is the same as it was last year, which was up like $200 over the previous one. Or was it 200 or 2,000?
No.
No, 200. Anyways, we'll relook at it and then bring it back up February. It doesn't have to be paid till March. Moving on. Treasurer's note.
Just, that report as presented.
Any questions? I'll accept the motion.
I motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Bill. Y'all had time to look them over? Any changes, questions? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $9,149.31.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. cemetery report. Entertain motion to pay the cemetery bills in the amount of $900.
I'll motion.
Motion made
I'll second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Clerk notes.
On the clerk notes, I have already, put in for publication for the bid for North Lawn Cemetery and the township. Bids are due by the 7th of February, so we can have them for our meeting February 10th. And that has already been published.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Supervisor notes. I tried to lower that flag outside, that pole. There is no rope on that, so I went out and tried to get the sections loose, and they were froze together. Managed to drop at one section. Doesn't even look like you lowered the flag to half staff when you drop it down. I would like, and this is my personal opinion, let's put a flagpole out there with a rope, so that if it has to be lowered to half staff, we can lower it to half staff. And it doesn't look like you're not doing anything, because trust me, I came up, man, I had a heck of a time getting that thing to loosen up. And so I did drop one whole section onto it. And,
I didn't realize that was in sections. I thought you opened a box and.
no, you have to lift it, twist it, drop it. One section, it took me a while, I had to heat it up. I'm not kidding. And then I tried to get the next one, and man, that thing was tough. That's intense. I dropped it one whole section, 4 feet. Didn't even look like it did nothing, so. I'd like to see us get a flagpole with a dog on the rope. Get this one out of here. We'll bring that up at the next meeting, and it'll be on the agenda as a formal request. Anyways, that's my notes. Second round of public comment, same as the first. Who's first? No?
I will.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious if the board has considered, in private, because there's nothing on tonight's agenda, the fact of Stephanie Scott's FOIA being refused, passed off to the state. She made the board aware at a previous meeting, I think it was the last one, that there could be a suit brought for the lack of a FOIA, for the lack of providing information that Adams Township has. And while Susie is the FOIA coordinator, you, the board, could direct her to fulfill that FOIA, I believe. So if the board sits and does nothing like you often do, Township may get sued. Unless Susie would go ahead and fulfill the FOIA.
I followed the directions of the Bureau of Elections, so.
But the Bureau of Elections doesn't run our township, and if you have information here that is FOIA-able, you need to provide that. Not pass it off to the state. Are you the state's puppet? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Now who's next? Yes.
What's the balance in the township's account?
Which one? The whole thing?
The whole thing.
1,543,668.07. Yep. Anybody else? No? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? All opposed? We are adjourned.